Da 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 da. What's my good cheer? Welcome, welcome, everybody. I'm here, rap woman, but I'm here, and that's what's most important. By the skin of my teeth, I commit to showing up here on YouTube. And, I have been working all day on a video, and I can't believe how long it takes me to edit a video. It's not my natural forte, but in that commitment and in that, not just that commitment, but in that privilege of being part of the committee, YouTube community, right? It's important for me to put my best foot forward. That I have this idea that they only expect me to do my best. And if it takes me 20 years, it takes me 20 years. In that time, I'm working on creating the best human being I possibly can. I'm creating a life for myself that I might not have thought was possible or known that it was possible, but it never even put a step forward to make any effort to, well, make movement towards that, right? Sometimes it's just in that nurturing, and that's what I was having a conversation. And this conversation was actually last month in editing my video. I'm reviewing the video and what I'm presenting to my audience. And in that, I had a conversation with somebody. And it is true, lots of times we intend to do right by ourselves, but, you know, it's just in that practice. It's in just that showing up and just being brave enough to look foolish or fall on your face or lose track in a moment. And I do it all the time. Sometimes I knock it up to, oh, I guess whoever or whatever didn't want me to say that, right? But in all truth, it is in short term memory loss, is what it is. And it's caused by trauma in most cases. And for the most part, it's childhood trauma. A lot of those traumas that we have as adults, they're sometimes kind of embarrassing, right? Because we're adults, right? We're not supposed to be afraid of the dark. We're not supposed to, be afraid of heights and stuff. But these these traumas are triggered in us because they were created in our young childhoods. And so when we're triggered, we go back to that moment. And in being going back to that moment, whether you're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, 7 years old, can you imagine going through a scary experience, how those little minds can go array or astray, right? And it is heartbreaking sometimes that we jump. And I was one of those people in my hypervigilance. I didn't like to be taken by surprise. I always wanted to know where the next moment was coming from and what that moment was going to entail. And so I spent a lot of my time, right? Maybe it's why I don't like puzzles, because I was always trying to figure out somebody's next move or even my own move. When I take those stalls to kind of reflect, when I come in live and we have these conversations, sometimes those moments that I have where I stall out and lose track of what I'm talking about, it's because I've gone into that reflective state. And when I talk, usually I have to come into my lives after the show is over and take in the lesson for myself in paying attention. When I come into my lives, usually I just flow with that. But sometimes I catch something in that flow. And if I go backwards and I reflect in it in mid sentence, I can lose track of whatever I was talking about. But that is right. We can attribute it to lots of things, but it has been proven that it does come from our childhood traumas. For me, it's that hypervigilance to keep myself safe, maybe to keep my sisters safe, to keep the world safe, because it does get to that point. We can become a little bit obsessive in those things that we want to control, and those things that we can't control, we want to control those too. But I think we overcompensate in those things that we can control to, like I said, overcompensate for what we can't control because, right, we don't want to be seen by falling on our face. We don't want to be looking foolish. We don't want to look unintelligent. We don't want to look like we have Alzheimer's, right? That's a big one for me, right? Because when I do have these conversations, and especially because I'm here, I'm working in communications, right? In showing up here live in my live shows. This is communications. I work in understanding emotions and untangling those wires, and right, the different topics that come across my path that is relatable in those hiccups and in those obstacles that can stall us out when we're trying to make a little bit of movement. But when I have those same stall outs and obstacles, right, I have to take my own advice. I have to be ready to fall on my face, look foolish, look like I don't have a few brain cells, right? Look like I have Alzheimer's, right? Or dance around the subjects, because sometimes these subjects are so big and so wild that I have no idea how to even untangle that wire in the moment. But I understand it's such a key player in the story that it should be overflowing in the moment, right? But that's on me, right? That is on me, but it's also in the lessons, and it is in that experience, and it is in just showing up, right? In just putting that effort in, and just right, creating the best human being I possibly can, just living my life and just chipping away, right, at the story or at the experience that needs to be played out, right? And then just showing up for myself in that, right? Congratulating myself for falling flat on my face or looking foolish or unintelligent or kind of flighty or naive. I get that quite often too. But sometimes that's only in the perception of somebody else because we never know truly what's going on, right? And unless it's vocalized or expressed, right, there's only one person listening to that conversation. And you have to make sure that conversation was just meant for one person, right? Lots of times those conversations need to be brought to the surface. They need to be in group discussions. They need to be in debates. They need to be in policies and rules and right? Sometimes in a tough love kind of way, right? I'm editing video today and I'm in the lessons as I'm editing the video and I'm reflecting in those little things that I'm not super strong in, but optimistic that because I'm showing up, because I'm putting that effort in, because Google knows that I've been at it since 8 o'clock this morning, off and on, right? I've also been doing other little things off and on, like switching over the winter closet, still have the air conditioner to put away, still have the laundry to put away, still have the hall closet to be done, and still have the winter, right, closet to be finished along with the video that still is not ready to be presented. I'm about halfway finished, but I think maybe three quarters finished because right, the hard part, the graphics and stuff, that's all done now, right? But I can beat myself up in that sometimes, right? And sometimes it makes it difficult for me to show up in these conversations, right? As a professional and well suited, not in my pajamas and my hair flying all over the place like I don't care. I certainly do care. Otherwise, right in this moment, I probably would be in bed or, right? Instead of taking in lessons, I'd be watching movies or on the phone, or maybe I might not even be home, right? In my choices, this is what my life looks like. And it's in applying myself in the lessons, in that trying, right? It's in that trying. That's all we can expect from ourselves, and it's all we can expect from each other's. And sometimes we beat ourselves up, sometimes we beat other people up for not meeting our standards. And what are our standards? They're just rules that were set by somebody else, right? If you really thought about those standards, right, you might think differently as to the importance to them in applying them to your life. Maybe you don't really have anything. Maybe you need to be accountable. Maybe you do need to set some rules for yourself, right? Right? It's like me, right? Those rules. The diet, right? Going to bed on time, getting up at the right time, right? Showing up at the right time, right? Those small accountabilities that will lessen, less, right? Will make less mistakes, obstacles, and hiccups along the way, right? And then maybe we wouldn't feel so foolish, but I can only be who I am. And in the moment, this is who I am: pajamas, scraggly hair, right? Still working on a video 12 hours later. It's only going to be a 35-minute video. And it took me all day to edit. But the next time I edit, maybe it'll only take me half an hour. And the next time, 20 minutes. And the next thing you know, I'm whipping those videos out right and left, right? Probably still won't enjoy, right, the editing part of it, but I'll be better at it, won't I? Right? And that's the polish in just showing up. Warts, hiccups, messy hair, without a topic, with that insuredness sometimes, right? Lots of times. And just trusting that everything is going to be okay and you're going to learn something by that. And I will learn something by that. I always do. And I'll come in, I got my cup of coffee, right? It's an editing day. I show up, but I looked at the clock, saw it was getting late, and I looked at my bed full of clothes all in big piles because I'm working on the closet. Just threw it in a big Rubbermaid container and said I can be that. That could be for tomorrow because I'm going to do my live now. I'm going to finish my coffee and I'm going to call it a day. Yeah, maybe we'll get this video up and running tomorrow. Who's to say? I'm going to give it my best shot. Everybody, have a great night. We'll see each other tomorrow. Bye.